Welcome to the North Carolina Board of Nursing's Introduction to Just Culture and the Board's Complaint Evaluation Tool, or CET. The purpose of this podcast is to provide introduction to basic principles of just culture and instructions on the use of the Board of Nursing's Complaint Evaluation Tool. The mission of the Board of Nursing is to protect the public by regulating the practice of nursing. Traditional regulatory boards by nature are retrospective and reactive to practice eras and events. Typically, when a practice era occurs, the blame would be placed at the sharp end, or the last person who cared for the client prior to the discovery of the error. The punishment of the error was often based on the patient outcome of the error, rather than the choices and intent of the nurse. This traditional type of model does not contribute to safer healthcare systems. Rather, it creates fear and prevents the opportunity from learning from the errors. The North Carolina Board of Nursing recognized the need to alter this model and to adapt practices to optimize our regulatory role in public protection. Dr. Lucen Lippi testified before Congress that the single greatest impediment to error prevention in the medical industry is that we punish people for making mistakes. To address errors in the healthcare industry, David Marks of Outcome Ingenuity set forth just culture concepts and principles to promote a culture of patient safety and accountability in the healthcare setting. Marks developed a just culture algorithm designed to evaluate errors and untoward events. The Marks Just Culture approach to untoward events is built upon 4 cornerstones. The first cornerstone is to create a learning culture that recognizes risk at both the individual and the organizational level, with the goal of creating a safe system. The second cornerstone is to create an open and fair culture that is not overly punitive, but holds the individual accountable for his or her actions. The third cornerstone is to design safe systems that reduce the opportunity for human error to occur, or that captures the errors before they become critical. The final cornerstone of just culture addresses the management of the behavioral choices to achieve the desired outcome. In just culture, we believe that to err is human, to drift is human, and risk is everywhere in the environment. We also believe that we must manage in support of our values, and we are all accountable for our behaviors. In evaluating errors and untoward events, we can expect one of 3 types of behaviors to emerge. The 3 types of behavior are human error, at risk, and reckless behavior. Human error is defined as an inadvertent action, inadvertently doing something other than what was intended to be done. It's a slip, it's a lapse, it's a mistake. An example of human error would be while driving down the road, we suddenly realize that as a result of inattention, we are driving 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. Human error. It was a lapse. At-risk behavior is defined as a behavioral choice that increases risk where risk is not recognized or is mistakenly believed to be justified. For example, if we get in our car and start down the road and automatically set our cruise control 10 minutes per hour over the speed limit, We do not recognize the risk that we're putting ourselves at as well as others because of the higher speed. Or we may even believe that we're justified to go faster because we're in a hurry and everyone else is driving over the speed limit. Reckless behavior is a behavioral choice to consciously disregard a substantial or unjustifiable risk, putting personal interest ahead of those served. An example of reckless behavior is the individual who chooses to pass a stopped school bus. In just culture, the behavior that emerges is managed in specific ways. The behavior of human error is managed by consoling the individual. Often the opportunity for remediation is identified as needed. The remediation may be for the individual or it may be for a group of individuals. The behavior of at-risk is managed primarily by coaching the individual. Coaching is defined as a supportive discussion on engaging in safe behavioral choices. Remediation is frequently indicated with at-risk behavior. Also, the system should strive to remove any incentives that encourage at-risk behavior, to create incentives for healthy behaviors, and increase situational awareness. Reckless behavior is managed by punishment and disciplinary action. Remediation plans may be a part of the disciplinary actions. In response to the error or untoward event, nurse leaders must also assess the system influences that may have impacted the event that occurred. When indicated processes and procedures should be revised or redesigned to promote patient safety. The North Carolina Board of Nursing has adopted Marx's Just Culture model of accountability to be utilized when evaluating nursing practice errors and untoward events. The Board of Nursing collaborated with Marx to develop the board's Complaint Evaluation Tool, or CET. The board's CET mirrors Marx's Just Culture algorithm. The CET provides a mechanism for nurse employers and the Board of Nursing to work together to promote a culture of safety that provides opportunity to learn from practice errors while properly assigning accountability for behaviors, evaluating events consistently, and complying with mandatory reporting requirements. Similar to the Marx Just Culture algorithm, the Board of Nursing Complaint Evaluation Tool, or CET, is designed to differentiate among practice errors or events resulting from human error, at-risk behavior, and reckless behavior. The CET guides the nurse employer in determining when practice events are or are not reportable to the Board of Nursing. The CET provides a framework that focuses the evaluation of the event on the behavioral choices or level of risk of the nurse rather than the outcome of the event. To use the CET to evaluate a practice event, the nurse employer would evaluate and rate the event using the criteria established in the 5 horizontal rows for the acronym of GUIDE. The numerical score would be placed in the far right column for each of the horizontal rows. The criteria score would be totaled at the bottom of the page, and a tally of the number in each color category would be performed. This information would then be transferred to the second page. Next, the nurse employer would select and total the number of applicable mitigating and aggravating factors. Mitigating and aggravating factors may influence the final decision regarding reportability. The total criteria score and tally of the number in each color category determines the type of behavior applicable in this event, whether it is human error, at risk, or reckless behavior. Mandatory reporting is required for incidents that involve fraud, theft, drug abuse, diversion, sexual misconduct, and mental or physical impairment. The complaint evaluation tool would not be used to evaluate these practice events. The CET guides and assists nurse employers in assuring that the mandatory reporting requirements have been met. When possible, the Just Culture philosophy and use of the complaint evaluation tool facilitates the retention of nurses in the workforce. Events that are human error do not require reporting to the Board of Nursing. Reckless behaviors do require reporting to the Board of Nursing. Behaviors in the at-risk category would require consultation between the nurse employer and the Board of Nursing practice consultant. When at-risk behaviors are identified, a collaborative approach between the board practice consultant and the nurse employer is used to determine reportability of the event to the Board of Nursing or a plan for remediation. Some potential event resolution options for at-risk behavior include the option of consultation. This is indicated in situations in which employer support and coaching of the nurse are considered appropriate and adequate to address the gap in practice. When employer-directed corrective action is indicated, the employer addresses the behavior choices through individual remediation and/or internal disciplinary processes. If the collaborative review indicates that a formal board report is needed, the employer is directed to submit a complaint with the Board of Nursing for inquiry or investigation. The desired outcomes for the use of the Board of Nursing complaint evaluation tool are to increase patient safety by providing a collaborative review of practice events and behavioral choices with a board practice consultant. Non-punitive learning will be balanced with individual and system accountability. Patient safety will be enhanced by providing safeguards in the event that the nurse fails to complete remediation activities. The Board of Nursing offers Just Culture and Complaint Evaluation Tool resource materials on the board's website. These resources will help guide you as you begin your Just Culture journey. The board practice consultants offer support and direction as you use the complaint evaluation tool to evaluate practice events in your organization. Use the contact information provided on this slide to request consultation with the practice consultant. Thank you for your attention. Contact us if you have any questions about Just Culture and the board's complaint evaluation tool.